What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I hope you guys enjoy it. Today we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts in trading, so let's jump into it. But first, let's go make a coffee. What's going on? Welcome back. So I want to talk to you about the do's and don'ts of being a day trader. What do you mean by the do's and don'ts, Chris? I mean by every single different aspect that you can think of, whether it comes down to actually the way you're trading or the psychology behind it, or certain things to avoid, certain things to be aware of, so on and so forth. So the first thing that I think is important to be aware of and to know when to trade and when to not trade is trading news. Trading news is, I wouldn't say it's very important to follow it. There's certain ones like NFP, FOMC, CPI, major ones like that have a large impact on the market. The smaller ones don't really do much. Unemployment on every Thursday, depending on if you're trading a pair that has to do with the US dollar. That's maybe something to keep an eye out for, but it's less of keeping an eye out for the actual news events and the results, but more of just being aware and making yourself aware and just making it part of your morning routine or your afternoon, evening routine, whatever the case is, wherever you are, making it part of your routine to check the news before you trade in regards to seeing if there's gonna be news, right? Like, you don't want to be trading if you're in Eastern Standard Time or you're in North America. There's no reason to be taking a position in the evening or nighttime when in the morning there's FOMC or there's NFP or there's CPI or another major news event, because chances are the market's more than likely going to consolidate, and then when the time comes, your analysis that you took for that trade or the analysis that you made for that trade is most likely going to become invalid. It's happened to me a number of times. When I was starting out my career, I would take a trade at night, maybe sometimes not knowing that there was going to be a major news event the following day. And then come news time, if I was aware, I would obviously be watching the news, and then it would go against me. Even though my analysis was valid at that moment, when I take a trade, I'm expecting it to go in the direction that I'm taking that trade in a very short amount of time, right? It doesn't have to go to my take profit or where I'm expecting price to go in 5 or 15 or 45 minutes. But it needs to start making its way there, making my way downtown, like that. It needs to start heading in the direction that I'm obviously taking the trade in. If it's just kind of sitting there and 3, 4, 5, 6 hours pass, then the trade's probably invalid, or there's something that's going to be happening in the market that's just keeping the market consolidating there, whatever the case is. But it's very important to be aware and to not just be taking trades, not being aware of what's going on in the market, right? Again, you don't need to be familiar with economics and stuff like that and know how the end result of that news event is going to affect the market. Maybe that's beneficial to the way you trade, maybe it's not. Everyone is different, but it is very important to be aware that there is going to be a news event in 6 hours or in 12 hours or in 2 hours, and to maybe change your decision of taking that trade based on that, because you don't want to get caught in the market going against you because of news, or the market whipsawing. It goes, takes out your trade and many other people's trades, and then goes in the direction that you expected it to, when instead, if maybe become good at trading news and being able to predict those things and saying, you know what, if it hits this price, if it pushes down to this price when news comes out, and the news is blah blah blah, whatever the end result is, then I can take a buying position and get in at the very bottom of that wick and then ride it up, and my risk is at an absolute minimum, right? So there's different ways to approach it and different do's and don'ts in regard to that. Another one that I've spoken about very briefly in previous vlogs is just being self-aware, to know that, like, if you wake up in the morning and you're feeling off, don't trade, or do something to make yourself feel the best that you possibly can in regards to, like, everybody knows there's those days where you wake up and you're like, wow, today's gonna be an amazing day. I'm gonna absolutely smash it. You have an amazing day at work, or an amazing day in the market, or an amazing day at the gym, whatever the case is. And then there's days where you just wake up and your brain's foggy and you're in a little bit of slow motion. Maybe you slept past your alarms, or you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, whatever the case is. You have to be self-aware enough to say, you know what, maybe I woke up on time today, but I'm just feeling off. Something's feeling off. I'm just gonna sit on the sidelines. I'm gonna meditate for an extra 20 minutes. I'm going to read a book. I'm gonna do some exercise in the morning instead of the afternoon to maybe shake off the funk that I'm feeling, whatever the case is. I'm gonna do something to better the way I feel before I worry about anything that has to do with money, because you can't be making money if you're not feeling 100% or the absolute best that you can that day, right? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Your 100% that you feel today isn't gonna be the same as the 100% that you feel and you can give tomorrow, right? Every day is different. As long as you're giving 100% and feeling the best that you can in that day, that's the only thing that matters. Your days aren't gonna be the exact same. And I think that's also the beauty of life. If we live the exact same day over and over again, then it would be very boring. Life would be just boring and uneventful and nothing to really look forward to, right? Because we know that tomorrow is going to be the same thing as today as it was yesterday. So just being aware of how you're feeling, being aware of, you know what, maybe if you're running behind 15-20 minutes or you have to go to work or you have an appointment to go to, like, don't take that trade because maybe news is coming out again, to tie it into the last one, and you're going to miss the news and you're going to be in a position that you can't monitor and watch and stuff along those lines, which in my case, that's something that I have to be aware of because I don't trade with a stop loss, right? So if I am gonna be in a position before news comes out, I'd like to be at the computer or be close by a computer or some sort of device, my iPad, whatever the case is, that I can monitor and be able to watch to see what's going on in the market, right? And see how the news is affecting it, see how price action's moving, because again, it could move in your direction, but then it could whipsaw against you, right? So there's a lot of different things to take into account. But being very self-aware is very important, and I think it's just very important in a general idea, or I don't really know the word I'm looking for, but on a general basis, it's very important to be self-aware, to know when maybe we're being affected by other people and they're projecting their energy onto us, whether it's positive or negative, or we're doing the same thing to other people, and being self-aware that we can't be doing that and that we have to be more sensitive to the people around us and more sensitive to ourselves, and be less judgmental to the people around us and less judgmental on ourselves, and just be more accepting of where we are and what we're going through, and working our way to the best version of ourselves every single day. And I think that that's the most important thing. And I think that success in the gym and success with money and success spiritually and all those things tie in together when you really just focus on yourself and being the best version of yourself, the most aware version of yourself that you can be, because you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, but they balance each other out, and the good days are gonna bring lots of gratitude, and the bad days are gonna bring lots of lessons and also gratitude for the things that you're learning from whatever you're going through, right? So being self-aware and being aware of the news is very important. Sticking to your trading plan, you do not want to veer from your trading plan. If you have a certain risk that works for you psychologically, just because you see someone else using a higher risk and it works for them, like, not everybody wants to trade at 2 or 3% per trade. Some people trade at 5% or 10% or 15% or 20%. So whatever works for that individual, and you can't compare what someone else is doing to what you're doing, because then you're going to end up just, they're not changing what they're doing because of you, so why are you changing what you're doing because of somebody else, right? Like, that person that's trading with 20%, that works for them. They're not interested in paying attention to your 5% or your 10% or 15%. So they're going to keep trading their 20% trades, and they're going to keep being profitable and being successful. Whereas if you're at 5% or 6%, you try jumping up to 10 or 15 or 20% per trade, you're going to end up losing money. You're going to end up probably blowing up your account. You're going to end up taking a loss that you didn't need to, and that's going to take the next 5, 6, 7 trades to make back. It's going to put a ding in your self-confidence in your trading, and it's going to put you steps backwards that you didn't really need to take, solely for the reason that you were just comparing where you are to where somebody else is, or what somebody else is doing, not even to where you guys are, because you might even be more successful than that person and have a higher success rate, but you just see somebody else like, oh, you know what, that guy is using 20% or girl's using 20%, whatever the case is. Let me see if I can bump up my risk so then I can take my bankroll to a whole nother level, you know what I mean? And then you end up fucking your shit up. So it's very important to stay disciplined to your trading plan and your risk management plan and the strategies that are working for you and the way you look at the market, and not always wanting to do what everyone else is doing or how everyone else is doing it, or whatever the case is. It's very important to stay in your lane and just focus on your own craft, and so on and so forth. Like LeBron James wasn't interested in what the next best player was doing. He was focusing on his craft and being the best shooter, the best three-point shooter, the best free throw, the best passer, the best court vision, everything in his own lane and in his own craft. and not worried about what the next guy or girl was doing, and making sure that he's being the best that he can be and what he knows works for him, and exploiting what he's already good at to become even better at it and become the best at that. So that's definitely something that each one of you that are watching this should do. And just being patient. You really have to be patient. Don't try to skip steps by over risking and over leveraging. Don't try to skip steps by trading a news event when you don't know how the news event moves and how it's manipulated by the end result of that news event. There's so many different things, and just being disciplined, being patient, being self-aware, and tying them all together to create something that works for you, and just not comparing yourself to other people, I would say, are the most important do's and don'ts of trading. Don't wake up in the morning if you sleep past your alarms and rush over to the computer. That's something that I used to do. I think it's very important to just be in a flow state. You can't be rushing around and trying to rush through things, or, oh, let me just journal quickly and meditate quickly so I can jump on the computer, or, oh, let me go do my exercise for 20 minutes instead of 35 minutes so that way I can shower quick and make it on the computer before news. Like, no, you woke up late, do what you're supposed to do. Once you're done what you're supposed to do, then go and jump on the computer, and if there's a trade opportunity, great. If not, make sure that you're up on time tomorrow, and that's that. Can't really get around that, because again, if you're skipping certain things like that, then you're skipping things that you know that benefit you and that help you be the best trader, the best athlete, the best teacher, the best son, daughter, brother, mother, whatever the case is that you can possibly be. So you need to do those things to be the best version of yourself that you can be every single day, and not skip them just for monetary gain or because there's a trade that you want to take, or so on and so forth. So I hope that this was informative to you. If you like this video, please hit the like button, so that way we can get this pushed on the algorithm. Let's keep growing this channel. I'm so grateful for all the subscribers. Please hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification, so that way you get notified whenever we drop these videos. It's over here, I think. Over here, but I'm pretty sure it's over here because I said it was over there last time and I was wrong. So it is over here. I will see you on the next one. Peace.